One of the most common questions that we get asked from brands that are selling on Amazon is how to deal with resellers. Before we get into that subject, let's actually talk about what a reseller is and why they're allowed to sell on Amazon. So a reseller is anybody that's not the brand that has the product and is selling it on some kind of retail platform. So that could be your distributor, it could be a wholesaler, it could be people that are buying from a wholesaler. Now, the reason this is such a common problem on Amazon, or something that needs to be managed, is because that Amazon is a completely open platform. Essentially, anybody can sell anything within reason on the platform. The most important thing to realize with resellers on Amazon is that there's not an end solution. So you're not ever really going to get rid of all of your resellers and completely demolish all of that competition. This is a managed process. So it's essentially going from where you are today with lots of competition and struggling to win the buy box to essentially increasing your buy box win rate. But it's very unlikely if you've already got a legacy of resellers, you'll be able to get rid of all of them. It's just not the way that Amazon works. So remember that as you start to approach this, it's a process of managing that and deterring resellers rather than completely solving it. First step is that you must use Fulfilment by Amazon. That means that you send your products to Amazon and Amazon sends those products onto the customer when they order. Now, why is that really important? There are 14 different factors, or roughly 14 different factors that will go into Amazon's algorithm to decide who wins the buy box on Amazon. And the two most important things are price and the fulfillment method. So essentially, if you're doing next day delivery through Fulfilment by Amazon, that's what the Prime badge essentially gives you, then the customer is more likely to buy. And that those sellers that are on Prime and using Fulfilment by Amazon, obviously given a greater weighting within this algorithm decides who wins the buy box than, let's say, a business that's got 3 to 5 day delivery and they're doing it themselves. So first and foremost, if you want to compete against your resellers, you must be using Fulfilment by Amazon. Secondly, establish a minimum price for your products. You've got to agree this before you start to change your prices. It's really critical to get buy-in across your business. Even people that are outside of the Amazon conversation, maybe that's your sales team who are going off and talking to retailers, making them aware that you are going to be changing your prices frequently before you actually go and do that. The worst thing you can do is start to change your prices, and that causes lots of problems within the business, and you get distracted from the main goal of competing against these resellers. Third, the way that you actually change your prices on Amazon is dynamic. So you're not going to manually go and set the price and change it every time there's a different reseller changing their price. You'll use repricing tools to automate this process. Now, within Seller Central on Amazon, there is a repricing tool, and there are third-party tools that will do the same kind of job. What we tend to recommend to our clients is to start using the Seller Central tool and see if that works, if that's effective. If it's not effective or you think there's more room for improvement, then we then start to recommend purchasing a subscription to a specialist tool. Now, the reason we say that is because they tend to be more responsive to price change, quicker to change price, and there's just lots of different price rules that you can put in place with these third-party tools that you can't get within Seller Central. So it just gives you more control and more refinement about how you tackle these resellers. Fourth, think about your supply chain. So fundamentally, if you want to reduce the amount of resellers and competition on your products on Amazon, then you've got to reduce the number of resellers out there. There's a kind of simple formula to that. Obviously, that's easier said than done, particularly if you're selling into wholesale, then it goes out to all sorts of different entities and you have no control over those. But if you can stop things at source, that is definitely going to help you restrict supply and help you to have a healthier buy box win rate. And finally, something that we found really from testing and working with our clients is using advertising as a way to funnel traffic into your listings in such a way that then allows you to protect the buy box win rate versus those resellers. Now, what I mean by that is if, let's say, you're advertising on your brand terms and your product names, and the consumer clicks on that ad, comes straight through to the listing, you're guaranteed to be winning the buy box from that click. That's the way that the advertising works on Amazon for sponsored product ads. Now, With that approach in place, that will allow you to funnel traffic and control the buy box, and essentially the reseller would not get a look in for all of those consumers that have come into the product page through that route. And that's a way to rapidly increase your buy box win rate on Amazon. That's just, as I say, something we do a lot with a lot of our clients. I'll give you one particular example. A relatively large skincare brand was really struggling with lots of resellers. Their buy box win rate was around 20-25%. We put in place the pricing rules as a sort of foundational step, and then started to protect the traffic through these advertising methods. That buy box win rate went from 20-25% up to 85-90% and has stayed there for 3 years since we started doing that. So it's an incredibly effective way of doing things. You wouldn't necessarily see that within the Amazon help guides. It's not something that's usually talked about, but if you can find a way to get that working, then it's going to be incredibly effective. So in summary, there are 5 things that you can do to protect yourselves against resellers. First, make sure that you're using Fulfilment by Amazon. Set minimum pricing and get buy-in across the business before you start to change prices. Use a repricing tool. Either use the one that's in Seller Central or use one of the third-party specialist tools that tend to be more reactive and more responsive. Review the supply chain, try to cut things out at source. And then finally, look at how you can use advertising to funnel traffic into your product page and protect that buy box from those resellers. If you can do all of those 5 things, then you're sure to have a much better picture when it comes to competing against resellers. Thank you for listening to our video today. I hope you've really enjoyed it and taken lots of valuable lessons out of it. You'll be able to catch more videos on LinkedIn, our website, and on YouTube. Remember to follow us wherever you're watching those videos. See you next time.